personally, I'm really trying to focus on like, okay, like what's next, right? We just saw Black Panther and Crazy Rich Asians break these markets that they said like, oh, like they're not gonna do well. Well, guess what? Look like it, okay? So I'm thinking about like, cool, like we're here, we know our struggle, we know we need to tell our stories, but like what's next? For me, I'm personally like looking to transition my film and photography work into the virtual reality space. If there's these emerging markets and there's these emerging technologies, I want to make sure that like we're represented in those spaces, and whoever is creating these futures and designing these futures are being intentional about our representations in there. And if they're not going to be, we have to infiltrate those spaces in order for our voices and our stories to be heard. Because like we said earlier, if we're not telling them, they're not going to be told. If M.I.A. is not flipping off the NFL, if M.I.A. is not at the microphone telling people what's going on back home in her country, they're going to keep, even when you are trying to say it, they're going to ignore it, they're going to shut it down. So like any ways that we can get in, if we see new spaces that are evolving, we have to identify those and make sure that we hold presence and hold space in those spaces as well.
Thank you, guys.
For me, the art form is a platform to give voice and not to empower, because I think that the voices already have power themselves. It's just to create a window for more people to see, have like access to what's there. And so the representations that are strong parts of my work are representations that match the experiences that I've had, right? Think about the recent years and the different movements that we've experienced on a larger, like macro, like societal level. Dealing with the indirect traumas of Black Lives Matter, and then dealing with the indirect traumas and the direct traumas of the Me Too movement, right? I'm living in this intersectional space of being a Black person and a woman and having to navigate what that means in living in today's reality. And so when I'm conducting work, I'm thinking about it as archival demonstrations of like our history, like snapshots of like what our society is currently going through right now from the people that are living through it.